Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Guys, One Coup podcast. How are you today, Jim?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm doing good. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope you did, Jim. We got a lot to talk about, including briefly, stay tuned, second half of the show. Again, we have another interview, which I'm sure most of the listeners are happy about because then they don't have to listen to us for a half hour. But yeah, we're talking to Brooke Chapel. Now, some of you may remember this story because we talked about it briefly episodes back. And I went back and looked. It was episode 29. We're on what, 49? Is this 49th episode,
yep,
Jim? I
49.
think so. Ooh, our big 5-0 on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, that was the story with the Round Elementary School in Heartland, Michigan. Mm-hmm. So the Heartland City Schools. And that was the story where they had a substitute teacher come in and do ultrasounds on the students, young kindergartners. I mean, that's so you might remember that story, you might not. If you weren't listening back then, that's okay because she's going to rehash it, that and much more. And she's part of the Livingston County, Michigan Moms for Liberty group as well. Yeah. So she is going to rehash that and talk about some other. You're going to want to stay tuned. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, it was very, very good interview.
Yeah, she's very, very good, and she's very, very certain. Like most of all of how this began, it all started with mask mandates, right? Masking the children, mask the children. All the while, our fearless leader, Joseph Biden, has been quadruple vaxxed, masked, double masked. Maybe the most protected human being on the earth right now. And he came down with COVID twice. Twice.
You know the ironic thing about this is, Dale? When I tested positive for COVID. Yeah. And I had all my shots. Boosters, everything. I had everything. Still tested positive for COVID. Didn't have serious symptoms, but that's beside the point. I was told not to test myself again. Because I could test positive for the next 90 days.
Correct. As long as
so
your
I don't
symptoms
buy
went
any
away,
of this stuff.
right?
I don't buy.
That's what they told you, right? As long as symptoms.
So
I don't buy it either. So why did they? It's a rare rebound case. Never heard of it. I asked Mrs. Dale, who works in the healthcare field. I said, "Have you heard of the rare rebound case?" And, I've heard of people, testing positive again because they've done it too soon. Because you're supposed to wait. And I said, well, that's right. That's what most medical professionals who have any brains in their head are telling people. So it doesn't pass the smell test once again for me.
Yep.
And oddly enough, it's leading for me towards mail-in ballots.
Did you see Colorado?
Are we allowed to talk about this, Jim?
All I'm saying is there's 65% more drop boxes that they're ordering.
Oh my God.
For the midterm. 65%
more than they had back in the
election. That's what we're heading to. That's what we're heading to. If you don't feel safe, we're still going to have this.
Now you got the RNC chairman, Rona McDaniel or whatever, saying that she's only committing to maybe us gaining 4 seats in the House.
Yeah, I know. The
literally just said that.
Yeah.
What is that about then? Where's this red wave that's supposed to happen in November? What do they know that they're not saying? They know. Drop boxes.
Look, the Dems are going to do something to make the economy look better than what it is. They're going to. They're already doing it with this Build Back Better 2.0.
Which you're going to talk about a little bit.
And they're doing it with some of these other and they're keeping abortion out there. Right, because it's a movement.
It's a hot topic issue,
again,
for sure.
You watch what the one hand's doing because the one behind the back's what's worrying. So they're going to make the economy look like it's slowing down, it's smoothing, it's doing really well, and they're going to hang on or try to hang on for 2022, and then folks,
all shit's
look
gonna hit
out
the fan after that.
because all this other shit, they're going to take all the taxes off the gas. Gas is going to go way back up.
Correct.
We're going to all the 40% gas emissions reduction by 2030 in this bill when we get to it.
Correct.
Anyway,
Jim. No, you're not wrong, and they're already doing it. When you said they're going to make it look like that, they literally have redefined the word recession that has been around forever, and every economist who can breathe, is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, right? Always, boom, that's a recession. Except now.
No.
Well, you got to look at the other factors. People are magically happy and magically spending money, and they're magically doing better in life, and they're not feeling the pinch. So, you have to, yet all the indicators for as far as like consumer confidence is down. So what is the new recession now? Is it going to be 3 negative? Because it's going to be 3 negative quarters. I would almost guarantee it. Unless something magical happens here, and I don't know what could.
Who the hell knows?
But yeah, and I don't trust the numbers. I don't trust the administration. I don't trust any of them. It's sad. We're all feeling the pinch. We're all feeling the pain. It's a great thank you. I mean, gas. I think gas I paid $3.78 for now in my. Thank you. I mean, it's still at $1.70 higher than when Joe took office. So I appreciate that. I mean, everything costs more. It's ridiculous. And we haven't talked about supply chain issues, which still continuously go on. And that idiot, Buttigieg, he's like, they're already planning for Biden's demise, right? So he's not going to run again in 2024. That's what they're saying. They've got Kamala Harris, the absolute idiotic, self-described pronoun queen. They have her as the leading candidate. Buttigieg second. What is? There's nobody out there that can think that the supply chain and the transportation and all that stuff is going great. There's nobody out there that could like Kamala Harris. I mean, tell me what she does that benefits this nation. Tell me the good that Kamala. Anybody listening, tell me one good thing she does for this country. Anything. I mean, she might make us laugh because we if we don't, we're just going to cry. Yeah, what do you mean? Of course, that poll's not. I mean, this is
the
Democrats.
25th Amendment. I'm sorry, the 25th Amendment would be being discussed right now if the vice president was better.
Oh yeah,
I personally believe that. I honestly believe that.
Biden's ill. He's got COVID again, and he's like, they're leading. They're sneaky. They're snakes to Democrats. Sorry. If there's a Democrat out there listening and said, listen, I'm a Democrat, but I can't take it either. Well, then good. Just switch parties.
After the midterm elections, they're either going to do the 25th Amendment or he'll step down.
You think so after midterms?
Oh, yeah. He's not. I mean, have you seen his health is deteriorating as we
Well, he came out and gave that speech where he didn't blink for like a minute. Yeah. Like not a single blink, like just what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
go ahead, Jim.
No, you go ahead. You saw.
I was just to say I saw a story on 60 Minutes, which I don't watch often, but it was about this whole deep fake thing. Have you know what deep fake is and all that? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I didn't.
I would encourage people to at least look that up online on YouTube. The last night's episode of 60 Minutes. I don't believe anything. You won't believe anything anymore. So it's just literally, Jim, you could be deep faked. I don't even know if that's really you I'm speaking to at the moment. But yeah, you could be out golfing or something. I don't even know.
We hope our listeners, because we do talk a lot about Moms for Liberty. We talk about a lot what's going on in school. And the reason why we do this is because, we feel it's important. And because we're going to have more Moms for Liberty interviews coming up.
Yeah, we are.
But we feel it's important because we do feel that the wokeism is going into our schools and they're going after our children. And if you look at the reasons why teachers are leaving school, it's not what the left thinks.
No.
You know, I've got people in my family that believe they're doing it because of the Moms for Liberty groups. They're just tired of it. I think that was 5th on that chart we saw, the reasons why they're leaving.
Correct.
The first was behavior of the children.
And second was what?
Second was progressive politics, which, by the way, progressive politics is not what Moms for Liberty is doing. It's progressive politics. So in other words, the teachers that agree with us, agree with Moms for Liberty, are leaving because they can't take it. You know, I'll teach this.
I'll have a story on who's responsible for all of that. And what's interesting about that later will be, when I discuss it, will be the money involved in the progressive politics of schools. So,
and then third was their salaries. So anyway, it's not what you guys think.
Too. It's not what you think.
Moms for Liberty is not causing people to leave the schools. If anything, it's causing them to double down. So
correct. So Jim, we got a lot to get through. Again, second half of the show, second half-ish of the show. Stay tuned for Brooke Chapel. She's fantastic. We were so happy to have her on because the stories and her presentation and everything about her. She's a good person, and she's got issues up there in Michigan with her school system, just like people do across the country. And you're just going to want to hear about it because this could be happening in your school and you don't even know it. So, Jim, what do you say we get started with our first segment? And I think you're going to go first, aren't you, today?
I believe so.
Yep. All right.
Okay. This is kind of going to be a grab bag of different things, and it kind of get on a rant.
Jim's going to rant today. Jim's
rant.
Go for it, rant.
We did this one time, in one evening when we were talking about what we wanted to do, you know, with interviews coming up for the show. Mm-hmm. So during the evening, as we were talking, I thought it was interesting. Let's go out and look at CNN, ABC, MSNBC, all these networks to find out the stories about schools, what we're seeing on these other networks and stuff.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing. They're not talking about any. And when they do talk about Moms for Liberty, it's a progressive right group.
Correct.
And all of this stuff. And so then that caused Dale and I to say, how can we combat this? So when we talk to those teachers, those uninformed teachers that we talked to at the protest, they probably aren't aware that this stuff is going on because if you watch and listen to these these networks, and they don't talk about it
at all.
They don't discuss it
at all.
So journalism's gone. You and I have already talked about that. It's completely, but now more than ever, it's become gone, and it's dangerous. Because now you've got the left who is, about as violent as you can get. If you disagree with them, they threaten your life. They threaten your family's life. They threaten everything. So, we just thought about that. And so we went through and did it. So the sugarcoating of the new Build Back Better 2.0. So
oh, boy.
We have to hope Sinema, the senator from Arizona, stands up to them and votes against it. We have to pray that happens because they bought Manchin.
Manchin
was bought, and he's going to what's in the bill? Climate provisions. The deal would be the biggest climate investment in U.S. history. It would slash U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030. What does Manchin's state do?
Yep, exactly. Coal. Number one industry.
Which coal does what?
Yep, it's energy.
Electricity.
Electricity.
Okay.
And he screwed him.
It becomes very important for these electric cars that you want. Anyway, but he's just set his state back. But, there's something that was offered to him, obviously.
Yep.
Tax provisions, here's my favorite. To boost revenue.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
The bill would impose a 15% minimum tax on corporations, which would raise $313 billion over a decade.
And guess where those corporations are going to go? First of all,
they're
not. If they pay it, what does that do, Jim? How does that fix? Well, we're not in a recession, I guess, technically, right? According to Biden. So how is that possible?
Pretty high unemployment rates coming up, though.
Sure is. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, because
you're right, Jim.
Corporations need their money. I'm sorry, you think they're evil, but that's what people do. Okay,
Yeah.
You don't go into business to lose money.
You don't.
So, inflation cap.
Oh, what?
The legislation would impose penalties on drug companies if they increase their prices faster than inflation. Medicare drug price negotiation. The bill would empower Medicare to negotiate prices of certain classes of medications administered in doctors' offices and purchased in the pharmacy. Now,
can I ask you a question? Go on.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
finish. No.
All of this sounds great on paper, right?
That's right.
All of it sounds great on paper, right?
All lovey-dovey. Mm-hmm.
Let's read the bill.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you there's this this is going to get worse.
First of all, you're increasing taxes, which is going to I mean, that's the first part of it. And how do you do that during high inflation and a recession? And we're in a recession, folks. I know we kid about it, but because the White House and his, idiotic spokesperson at the podium every day, just literally denying it. We're not in recession. We're not in recession. It's not a recession. I don't care what the definition is. We're not in recession. They just want to keep repeating it because we're all basically,
stupid
imbeciles, right? We don't get it. So
now they want to make sure that they are clear. Okay, this isn't Build Back Better 2.0, but it is. Okay, because what is not in the bill right now? The creation of a universal pre-K program, an extension of enhanced child tax credits, an expansion of Medicare benefits, the establishment of federally funded paid family and sick leave program. These are out of it. Of the bill.
Do you think families would rather have extended, maybe child care leave, child care credits, maybe in their taxes or funds for that, or do you think they want greenhouse gas emissions and regulations on coal? What? They took out that stuff and left the other crap in it, right? Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you, Dale. I'm trying to figure out how people are still this upset over Roe v. Wade when abortion's still legal in a lot of states.
Yeah, because they're idiots.
They're being fed this stuff because they don't want you to notice, hey, have you noticed the economy? Have you noticed how bad it is? Have you noticed? And so this is how, but this is the base of the ignorance, of the liberals. They're just uninformed on everything. They get irate and upset over these things. And so, real quick, what the Republicans are saying is the package as it stands is facing furious GOP opposition, which no Republican is going to vote for it. Republican lawmakers on the Senate Finance Committee released data from the nonpartisan Joint Committee on Taxation that showed that Americans of all incomes would see their federal taxes rise under the climate and health care package. See, that's what they don't tell you.
Yeah, correct.
When you have to reduce the emissions by 40% by 2030, you're going to have to do something, correct?
Correct.
Taxes are going up, and it's not just for the wealthy. So I want to let you guys know that, which most of the people that listen to us know that. But that analysis, however, looked at the indirect effect of 15% minimum tax provisions on corporations. Economists assume companies would then pass along part of their tax increase to the employees by reducing their after-tax wages and job opportunities. Didn't we just say that?
I think so.
Also, shareholders would take a hit since the value of their stock holdings, including those held in pensions and mutual funds, would likely decline.
This is great.
Now, what's Biden saying? The president
blah,
has urged...
blah, purple skies, rabbits
what did you say? Squirrels like bananas.
Squirrels eat bananas. Man, come on, man. Squirrels eat bananas, man. I got hair on my legs. Kids love rubbing it. Corn pop.
Now, I'll give him credit for this first sentence. The bill is far from perfect.
That was probably a teleprompter read he wasn't supposed to read.
It's a compromise, but it's often how progress is made by compromises. The fact is that my message to Congress is this: squirrels like bananas. No,
Bananas.
this is the strongest bill you can pass to lower inflation. Bullshit.
No.
Cut the
Impossible.
deficit. Bullshit.
Nope.
Reduce health care costs. Bullshit. Tackle the climate crisis and promote energy security. Bullshit.
Total bullshit.
Considering we were energy.
Yeah.
We were energy security before.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep.
All the time while reducing burdens facing working class and middle class families.
Come
Biden
on.
said in his speech. Okay, so, that's what the bill is, guys. Let's wait and see what happens. Pray to God Sinema's going to say, I don't like what's in there, and vote against it, and then they'll have to redo it again. So it's just, it's a joke. It's a nightmare. But what doesn't this have to go to the House? Because this is how the bill first came.
Did it?
Did this new one pass the House?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe not yet, but it will. So there's no point.
The squad isn't going to like a lot of this stuff in there.
Well,
the members of the squad is going to want. They don't like the fact that some of these things were taken out. They're not going to like that.
What part aren't they going to like? They're going to love the whole climate crap. That's their whole.
Yeah, but the expansion of Medicare benefits, the child tax credit, all this stuff that they were fighting for from the beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see what happens. They'll get paid off, or they'll put
matter.
something
will happen
little
in their
red
district.
lights around AOC, and she'll be doing all that stuff.
Yeah, like a cat chasing a laser pointer.
No one's a bigger idiot than she is. I think she's dumber than Biden, but anyway.
Maybe.
That was a controversial comment, but you know what?
Yeah, it is what it is. I don't care.
So anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is real quick. For those of you out here who we just have to let everybody be who they are. Okay. Girls' sports is being destroyed. And I don't care what you say. I don't care. Oh, there's just a small percentage of it. It doesn't matter. There is a girl not getting on a team because a person who thinks they're transgender wants to play. So now a girl doesn't get to make that team.
Yeah.
So
a guy's pretending to be a girl.
So now the best players on your team are now guys. Okay, that as we talked about that many times, right?
Men make the best women, apparently.
So in a wonderful move in my wonderful state of Indiana, an Obama-appointed judge has ruled that an Indiana school must allow a transgender student back on the girls' softball team at school. Play baseball. Anyway, Judge Jane Magna-Stinson temporarily blocked Indianapolis public schools from enforcing the state law requiring students to play on a team that matches their biological sex. Now, I ask you, Dale.
You may.
How can a judge block a state law?
A federal state? She's just a state judge. Well, she's
an appointed judge. I'm assuming she's a federal judge.
Gotta be. Yeah, it's gotta be. Well, wait. So now at this point, there's got to be an appeal to this, obviously.
Well, there is. No trust me.
There's no way your attorney general is.
Rakita's going to,
Rakita's got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not for this at all. That guy's got.
Remember, it was
biggest church bells, but
it was the Republican House and Senate that had to actually force Holcomb, the governor, to protect this. To protect girls' sports because he wouldn't do it. He got intimidated, whereas the other ones didn't. But the student, a 10-year-old, identified in the lawsuit only as a.
Whoa.
Yep.
A 10-year-old transgender.
Yep.
So the parents need to be locked up. Okay, gotcha.
Not only the parents need to be locked up, but everybody who's fighting for this needs to be locked up. Anyway,
agreed.
Had been removed from the team when the law went into effect earlier this month. The family reportedly began referring to the biological male child as a girl when they were just 3 years old.
This is it, folks. This is going to happen more and more and more as they start bringing up these children to think that way, right, Jim? That's why we're doing all this stuff with this Moms for Liberty. That's why it's such a big deal, people, is that those parents, which I'm sure are probably in their, probably mid-30s, maybe young, late 20s, maybe early 30s. I don't even know how old the parents are. Agreed at 3-year-old that they should transition their boy into a girl. now maybe not medically, but psychologically and mentally, they have abused this child. What are the names of the parents? Do we have that?
No, they don't.
Name?
No.
They should name those people. Yeah. Oh, they should name those people. I'm sure we can find them.
The reason I brought that up, the main reason, 3 years.
Exactly, Jim. Yep.
This child knew at 3 years old. I don't feel right, Mommy. I want to be a girl.
Obviously, you're a girl. I mean, you don't feel right? Well, you must be a girl. So anyway, it's sick.
Okay, and then
I'm interested. I'm interested to know if they started him on puberty blockers and stuff. Like
I would
at 10. I don't know if they have. I don't know what period you start that, but I would think now is probably. Yeah.
But real quick, we talked about France, right?
Mm-hmm.
France went towards this green movement, all that stuff, and then they took a step back and said, okay, maybe we're going too fast.
Correct.
Because we can't do so. They backed off, as has other countries. Let's still do this, but we still need to do this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Britain, real quick, they have actually taken a investigation reveals sick truth about child sex change facility closing its doors. What? So there is actually a facility in UK that in 2021, 5,000 sex changes. They were putting kids on puberty blockers and starting their progressions towards kids.
God.
5,000. 250 10 years ago. So they've gone from 250 to 5,000 in a matter of 10 years.
Wow.
And because here's the quote. All cool kids are trans. So this company who has found out that it's harmful to these children, as we see more and more, they're starting to shut this stuff down. Well, these are other nations that are doing this. Our left isn't going to see stories like this.
No, they aren't.
CNN's not going to talk about it. MSNBC's not going to talk about it.
You're right. Back to the original point. You're right.
So they're not going to see any of this stuff. But this is scary, folks. This is all these other nations that are laughing at the United States of America because our economy is going to shit. We have all this oil that we can drill. We're not drilling. We're having to buy it from people that hate us. We're having to buy it from people that basically want to kill us and wipe us off the map.
Yeah.
And now this is our biggest concern.
Correct.
We're fighting over abortion. We're fighting over Roe v. Wade. We're angry. We're doing all this stuff. And this is where we're at. So if you wonder why Dale and I keep talking about these stories about Moms for Liberty and these schools and what's going on, it's this, guys. This is a scary. Are you telling me a 3-year-old? A 3-year-old isn't going to know if they want to play baseball, let alone be able to tell you they want to be a boy or a girl. This is parents that are looking for attention. That's what this
child
is.
Abuse.
They're looking for attention. It's no different than the mom that makes the child sick purposely to get the attention.
Munchausen by proxy.
Thank you. I wasn't familiar. There's no difference, but now it's this.
No difference. Correct.
It's trans. And anyway, I'm so sick of this stuff. But thank you, CNN. Thank you, MSNBC, for being very responsible. Very responsible.
Very responsible journalism again.
You have 6 or 7 stories a day on the January 6th.
Trump.
So good job.
It's Trump. And none of the stuff that's really happening around the world. And everybody knows it, and they're a joke, and that's why their ratings suck. Yep. And we talked about this. But even though MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC's ratings suck, combined, they're getting a lot of viewership out there still.
Yep.
Combined. So, and they're all programmed to say the same thing. Trump bad, nothing happening, no recession, right-wing moms groups. I mean, the same thing over and over again. Jim,
to see here. Sorry, I went long.
You didn't go long. Who cares? Who cares? It's our show, Jim. We go as long as we want, damn it. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get on to, maybe I'll have something to say today. Let's get on.
Sorry.
Get on to another. You're good, bro. Let's get on to another segment. Well, I'm going to have to make mine quick. So that's
because Jim got a little long-winded today.
I love Jim.
Jim's in a bad mood.
Jim's rants. I love Jim's rants. I think everybody enjoys a good rant from Jim. I have two things I need to talk about. One of them literally could have taken the entire show. I can't review it all, so I'm just going to kind of give some of the details. But first,
I think more of it will come out later. So, I mean, it's going to be one of these things where we can have many discussions on this. So,
oh yeah, I mean, and the story won't change
right.
on what I'm going to read in a minute. But I'm going to start with this beautiful story. Transgender cheerleader removed from camp after allegedly choking teammate. I don't know if you heard about this story. A transgender cheerleader was kicked out of summer cheer camp at Ranger College in Texas after being accused of choking a teammate over transphobic words. The police were called after Avery Chanel Madlock, a 25-year-old biological male who claims to be a transgender woman, allegedly physically attacked a biologically female cheerleader after he claimed the girl called him a transphobic name. And yes, I'm going to refer to the trans as a he. Quote from Mr. She. Well, guys, I'm officially retired as a cheerleader as of last night at 5:30 a.m. As of last night at 5:30 a.m. So not only is he confused about his gender, but he has no idea what AM and PM stand for. A girl on the team was being very disrespectful and told me I am a man with a penis because he is.
Because
it's true.
Okay.
Because that's what he is. Yep. And that, in parentheses, guys, should not be on the team. That guys should not be on the team.
Well, they could be bases.
This cheerleading squad is not one of those. It's the
all female
cheerleader side.
All female
team. All female team.
And one man with a penis.
Medlick wrote that's what he wrote in a Facebook post. Also quoted, I stood up for myself and she called her mom and dad because she was scared because I stood up for myself. Her father said, she still has testosterone and a penis, and I will kill anyone who comes after my daughter. Good for him.
Yep.
See, that's a parent who knows how to protect their child. Police responded to the cheer camp at Ranger College in the central Texas town of Ranger after one of the participants claimed that Medlock attacked her, according to the New York Post. The cheerleader who reported being attacked said she and some of her friends barricaded themselves in a room to stay away from the trans cheerleader. The father who called the police denied attacking Medlock's gender or race. Quote, I ask you what you would have done when receiving a phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning from your daughter stating that they had locked themselves in the room with other girls. The father, Mike Jones, said on Facebook, at no time did I ever say anything about your race or your gender. So he's responding to the allegation. Jones is also calling for the police to release campus surveillance video and the officers' body cam footage. The trans student also insisted that the whole incident was instigated by a fellow cheerleader named Carly, according to KTAB, a news station in Ranger, Texas. The college later issued a statement saying Ranger College takes all allegations of this nature seriously and is committed to providing a learning environment free from discrimination. And here's the important part. And here's why I really wanted to get to this story and at the end, because it also applies to yours too. Here's what it says at the end. At this time, Ranger College is following all applicable Title IX regulations and board policies. Folks, you wonder why I keep posting and Jim keeps posting and reposting that Title IX stuff on our Facebook page. So you can just easily go on and sign it so this kind of crap doesn't happen.
There is going to be no more women's sports.
there's going to be no more women's sports. If it happens, that's just one aspect of the whole Title IX revamp that Biden wants to do. But that's why it's so important. That's why we talk about it. Jim, I don't think we need to talk anymore about Mr. Shea and the fact that, Mr. Shea wants to, be a cheerleader at a low-level college in Texas.
It's
but
25.
That all fall. I know, 25. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 20.
Doctors are still in school at that time, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So I guess, yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's why Title IX is very important, folks. This one I want to get to real quick. Mm-hmm. Super long story. I'm super going to make it short. So when I miss a lot of stuff, it's because literally just time constraints.
And I went too long.
Damn. No, you didn't, Jim. I like your rant. You could have ranted the whole show for all I cared. I appreciate the limited time you've given me. So Dems union leaders responsible for school lockdowns face few repercussions despite evidence that kids are harmed. So I want to go on it by saying that this is on
fake news.
Yeah, fake.
You
totally
can't
fake.
cause harm to kids. Nope. Fake news.
Nope, absolutely not. Yep, you're right.
Fact checker just showed you.
No, thank you, fact checker. That's funny.
Sorry.
If you wanna look up the entire story I hear about it, it is on Fox News' website. It appeared today, and I just wanted to briefly talk about it. The Democrats responsible for keeping public schools closed during the COVID-19 pandemic have faced zero repercussions more than 2 years after the lockdowns that left millions of children behind in crisis. So here's the stuff that I really want to get to. School closures in the U.S. have had a devastating impact on children's mental health. They don't talk about that. It's all about protecting your physical health because masks work. Of course, CDC just came out and said it didn't. Right. I didn't believe the CDC before, and I think you heard a couple episodes ago when we talked with Tina and Tiffany from Moms for Liberty, the co-founders, where they said they were moms. They didn't need studies. They knew masks didn't work. It's true. We all did. But anyways, where was I, Jim? So the mental crisis part of it, I wanted to briefly touch on that. And more importantly, developmental and future earnings potential, which is incredible to me. So listen to this. According to data released by, I don't know if this is the National Center for Education Statistics, 70% of U.S. public schools had an increase in students seeking mental health services. 70%, okay? A study published by the conservative think tank Just Facts reported that the mental stressors brought about by school closures will destroy 7 times more years of life than lockdown stayed. So then the financial portion of this. A study by the American Enterprise Institute also found that nearly 1.3 million students have left public schools since the pandemic began, and schools that stayed remote longer saw even more students leave. The World Bank reported last month that the school closures will cost a generation of students $21 trillion in earnings, which is more than the $17 trillion they estimated in 2021. So what are they talking about there, Jim, in earnings? Well, it's how far behind they've got in their schooling. It's how also what they're teaching in schools. So the earnings potential does not just have to do with the fact that it was lockdowns, but it has to do with the fact that now we're talking about what pronoun you are and how you address, Mr. Susie over there or whatever the story is. That's what they're learning. They're not learning math. They're not learning the skills that are going to advance them in life. A working paper first released in October 2020, which examined over 10,000 school districts across the country and their reopening plans, found that partisan politics and teachers' union strength in a particular area had far more influence on schools reopening than science or local health guidance. I think we knew that, right? They never followed the science on that. Right. No way. So I got to get to this because evidence shows that the main drivers behind the school closures were teachers' unions, which donate almost exclusively to Democrats. The American Federation of Teachers has donated 100% of their funds, a total of $2,674,719 to Democrat candidates in the 2022 election cycle. Over almost $3 million, 100% from the American Federation of Teachers to Democrats. And the National Education Association, which we've talked about, the largest union in the nation, 3 million plus, has donated 98.4%, or $1,941,000 to Democrat candidates this cycle, according to OpenSecrets.org. So these are the teachers' unions and teachers' organizations that are donating to the same group that wants to mask your child, that wants to teach your child about all the pronouns they need to call, that wants to let boys play girls' sports because they say they're a girl. That's what's happening out there. And Andy Weingartner is the president of the National Education Association Teachers Union. She is evil and in charge of this. I don't know what else I want to get into. It goes on and on and on. Jim, you read it as well because we talked about it this morning. I literally can go on and on. And it has to do with the CDC and how they kind of bullshitted their science to everybody, and about the teachers unions that are forcing their finances. And what they're talking about in the election cycle is they're talking about forcing that money into your local school boards election cycle, governor's races. They're not talking about that's not even money going to like a presidential campaign or a senator or a House representative. That is local school boards. Why would they fund that much money? Why would 100% of it, and damn near 100% from the NEA, go to Democrat candidates? Because they have an agenda, and it is to destroy the public school system, indoctrinate your children, and brainwash them to be future Democratic voters.
Yep.
Bottom line. That's it.
They won't be able to function in life.
Have no function.
They won't be able to. I mean, they'll be crying.
It's true, Jim. We laugh. Yep. I mean, we joke, but I mean, they will not be able to function. They will not be able to.
We're seeing it now.
No, they will be offended at everything that comes at them. They won't know how to lose properly or gracefully. None of that. And that all began with everyone gets a trophy crap.
Yep.
So now when somebody does lose, you saw it. You saw it. Liberals cry. They scream. They screech. They destroy. I mean, because they're entitled. They shouldn't lose. Nobody loses. It's not fair. So it runs the gamut, guys. And I know we've all seen it out there. And it's not going to get better. And so if you want to read this entire story, really go to Fox News.
I encourage you to read it.
And I do too. And Jim knows I'm not a reader, and I read the entire thing. Right, Jim?
Yep.
It's long, but it's a read, and it's an important one. So, Jim, that's kind of what I wanted to get to today on my end of it. You know, I took my 3 minutes and was able to, voice my opinion on things today, which I thank you for. I mean, honest to God. But next, folks, what do we got? 30 minutes of Jim not talking all the way through. We got our interview with Brooke Chapel, guys. And you're honestly, listen to this. She's phenomenal. Thank you, Brooke, again for coming on, because she was great. I mean, she hit a home run, and she's got a story, and it's important. And it really tells you why. I mean, it falls right into line with everything we talk about and everything Moms for Liberty is fighting. And every story we bring to you on the school system, she's experienced a lot of it. So, folks, stay tuned. Listen to that. We'll be back after to wrap up the show. Well, Jim and I want to welcome to the show today Brooke Chapel. Brooke is a mother. She's a wife. She is what she says is a good Christian, gun-toting American. We love those people, Brooke.
Oh, we love it.
Thank you for coming on the show today. Some of you may remember it was a while ago, probably a couple months ago, way back, episode 29. I briefly talked about Brooke's story and what's going on there at the Heartland school system in Michigan. And it had to do with, at the time, a substitute teacher / physician who came in and did some procedures, ultrasound procedures on children without parental knowledge, there's a whole mix up. We'll get into that because, the school denied it and all of a sudden the school said, oh, no, we approved it, blah, 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 all this stuff. But that's kind of where I ran into Brooke, and it was on TikTok. I saw this video and I'm like, how is this possible? How did this happen there? Well, it turns out there's a lot going on in the school system there. And Brooke's been the one taking the bullets for it seems, because she's out there fighting it every day. Brooke, again, just kind of briefly go over who you are and how this all began for you and how you kind of got started with this battle with the school system.
So it started, well, first of all, what a wonderful introduction. That about sums me up.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it really started for me when we had the masking stuff going on with COVID. You see,
Sure.
I have 4 kids, and initially we homeschooled for a year when everything was really crazy. Being the holistic practitioner, there's no way I was going to send children in wearing a mask. So, but the following year they wanted to go back to school because we can't give them the socialization that they need. That there's only so much. So we went and got them back in. And then shortly after, they started trying to bring the masks back in. Now, my son, he's in kindergarten at the time. He had a medical condition that would not allow him to wear a mask. And they fought me on it. And so, eventually, and I have a team of doctors here saying, hey, you don't need to be wearing this. It would be harmful for his health. And yet the school believed that they were medically above my whole team. So at that point, I kind of went all in and said, not only will I not stop here, but I'm fighting for every kid, not just my son, because, it's not just the people with the medical conditions. I fully believe that it's our choice as parents if they, and our children, if they want to wear one or not. And so that became my cause initially. And I said, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear my schedule while you guys are all doing your stuff and working. This is going to be my sole focus here. Yeah. And I have a team of people that I work with, and together we have taken this on. And, that's the other thing that people don't realize is that while they only see me on camera, I have a whole group of people that make this possible. So, and it wouldn't be done without them. So that was the initial drive, and that's what started it. But then what I soon found out was how involved it was. So much more than the school system. You see, it became the health department, and then it became this department and that department. You started seeing really quickly how our rights were being taken away, how they really didn't care at all what we thought, again, as parents. And so it started opening my eyes up. And so I started quickly realizing that there were so many other issues that we just never knew about. I was never involved in politics. I was never involved. Sadly, I will say I was never involved even in my kids' schooling. I mean, sure, I would volunteer at the parties and whatnot. But as you just said, I'm a pretty busy lady as well. So, so now I realize how important it is. And, we're giving the schools our greatest gift, which is our children. And when I homeschooled for a year, that was one of the things that I realized most was, wow, what an honor it is to be able to teach my kids, because who wants them to succeed more than I do? Correct. And so when I started realizing that, that wasn't the case necessarily in every school, I started paying more and more attention. And so again, we formed our team and we started getting into it.
Yep. Good. And then, so when I'll just ask real quick the question. When you did the deep dive then into it with uni, I'm glad you brought up the team. I didn't know who you had around you and what kind of support you had there, but I'm glad to hear that. When you did this deep dive, after the mask, what other issues did you find? What was going on there? We've told some stories. I don't mind if you even rehash the one with the substitute doctor coming in. I mean, for those who hadn't heard it, however you want to present it, what happened next? You fought the mask thing, but then,
Yep.
What's next?
So then safety really became a number one priority for us. And I mean, you look around the country right now, and that's a big ticket item for all of us.
Sure is.
And so when I started, and the team and I started investigating, what we found out was that we actually had police officers in our community say, hey, we want to put on the Alice training there. We'll help you guys do it for free. Our school turned it down. And what I've learned, I believe that is because our superintendent is kind of a control freak. And if it's not his idea, then, no, thank you. But when I heard that, and that you could turn your back on a free service that would only benefit the school, that certainly was a real hot button for all of us. So that was one. Then, of course, as parents, we weren't allowed in the school whatsoever. So we had the year of COVID. Okay, fine. Everybody in the country kind of lost their mind over that. So, we'll give you a pass on that. But this next year, when in our county, our school was the only one that wouldn't let parents in, but they were also the only one that never gave us a reason why. They just said we had to be patient. What are we being patient for? Yeah. And so what you're going to see now, and I think I even sent you guys some of our new stuff going on in the schools. We actually have to sign a release going into this school year because, hooray, they're finally going to let us in. But the downside is in order to get in, you have to sign this contract that says, hey, we're not going to bring in cell phones. And we have to, notify them before we even come in. We have to get the clearance to go see our own kids, right? What a joke is this? Yeah. Yeah. So, but again, it's highlighting the fact that what they're now deeming us parents as threats and trying to keep us out. So what picture does that paint to you?
Correct. There's something. They're hiding something. Not a great one. They're trying to hide something. Jim,
so we call it the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but hide behind the curtain for sure.
We hear a lot. I mean, obviously, we talk about a lot of school boards. And one of the things that we've never really asked, but I'm going to ask because different school boards have different number of people on the school boards. Are there any school board members that agree with you, that are fighting with you, or everyone? How many then? How many are on?
We have a total of, let's see, I want to say 8 in total. It could be 7 because we just had someone dropping out. But no, not one person's on our side. Wow. And when we go to the school board meetings, the saddest part to me is that I've brought up some massive issues in our school. I don't know if you've seen some of the TikToks when I've uncovered some of the sexual assaults going on and whatnot. I will present that. And then nothing happens after. They don't even say, we're going to look into that, anything. It's just like they're making their grocery list while, we're saying this, and they're just waiting for us to be done. So, so sad.
Yeah.
And I've also, the funny thing about it is the school board hires a superintendent, but almost every school board that I see, the superintendent makes the rules.
Absolutely.
And that just stuns me that not one board member is siding with you. That's scary, actually.
And let's think about this, because everybody says, oh, it's so fair. This is all set up so fair. If you want to do something about it, then just take over the school board or go to your school board. So you can imagine when we go and then nothing happens, and it's falling on deaf ears. But it's more than that, too, because let's remember what the job of these elected officials is meant. They're meant to be serving the public here. They're meant to be our voice. And so, to not even have, they take nothing from what we say. As a matter of fact, this is a good one. So we've been battling them. We've been talking about the fact that we have SEL going on in school, and we link SEL and CRT. And I love that they get so hung up on that. And they'll say, no, we don't have that in our school system. No, not at all. And we'll come in and we'll have excellent speeches where we are telling these people flat out, as you can see here, this and this and this. And yet again, nothing happens. We had this amazing opportunity last week after our board meeting where 3 of the board members, first time ever after an entire year, came out and we kind of talked to them for a moment. And so one of the things that I asked is I said, so you say there's no CRT, SEL. Well, then how do you explain the fact that my child came home with a piece of paper? And so let me back up. I said, here's the thing. I think that there are some wonderful aspects about SEL. let's make sure no one's bullying and let's do all these wonderful things. Okay.
Sounds good on the surface.
That's how they hide.
I like the shiny part too. Let's be fair. But so when my daughter brought home a paper in 7th grade and it had it had your school in the center, and then it had the government, and then family is on the very outside. Now, see, in our family, obviously that's not how that wheel should go, you see.
No.
So when I asked
no families, that's how
Bingo.
Exactly. I asked our school board that. I said, so what do you do about that? And they were stunned. So what I learned in that conversation is that these people truly didn't believe that it was in there. But here's my question to you. Them being naive, that doesn't make it okay, because we've been at it for 9 months where we come in and we have given them every reason. These people are in charge of 5,400 students. So at what point do you start to say, gosh, I should probably do some of my own research here? Because, by the way, just like you guys can go and get on and you guys can do this, it's not like I'm in some secret government access website here that only I can access. So it's free for all of us.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's sad, but it speaks to the problem that we're having.
Yeah, exactly.
It's scary too.
It is scary. Brooke, you had mentioned about the support that you get from the team and all that. What kind of are you getting backlash from any community, from church, community, anybody at the school?
So much.
Or what's happening there?
So much. So it's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, because now my TikTok account is about to be banned. That's why I couldn't respond to you.
Oh my gosh.
They are all over it. They are working hand in hand with a lot of liberals and Democrats in our community to really, and I'm not talking the old Democrats that were, back in the day. I'm talking this new breed. So they all actively work to take down these videos. It is, and they say hateful behavior. I literally just posted something the other day because we have, we'll get into this in a moment, but the whole lunch funds, using the student lunch program. If you want to, get that, then you have to agree to let boys use the girls' bathrooms, locker rooms, and play on their sports teams. So, when this was all going on, I simply tried doing simple math, and I was showing everybody that the numbers didn't make sense. That's it. No negative comments, no anything. I just said, help me understand. And that video gets taken down every time I put it up. So it's insane what we're up against.
That is insane. I mean, you're not even saying like the normal trigger words, right? That you can't say anywhere. I mean, you're simply presenting the facts and some math and asking a question. And I don't even know how the algorithm works. Yeah, go ahead.
Go out and watch how many TikToks that show people saying we need to go get the Supreme Court justices out of there. Those are still out there. Those are out there, but it's the other voice. And I'm sure you guys, for what the question Dale has asked you, I'm sure, because we've seen it with a lot of our doings with Moms for Liberty, fascism. And so if you look at the actual definition, not the definition that's today, the actual definition, it follows the liberal movement. And now I know we try not to get political with it, but this is just insane that we can't voice our opinion, but other people can say how much they hate us, how we're fascists, and how all of this, and that stays there. It's upsetting. It really is.
Upsetting.
And to speak more on the backlash and to tie that all in, that's exactly it. So anytime I'll present anything, our superintendent puts his own spin on this, and I become vilified, and it is so comical. Now, as I've grown and done this, enough, what I've realized is it doesn't matter how gentle you want to put it, like doing the math, they still would rather just silence us. We have the cancel culture going right now. But more and more people are starting to at least become aware of this in the community. I think they're starting to see, hey, maybe he's not telling the whole truth. When we had that substitute thing that you were mentioning, for those people not familiar with the story, I'll just tell you that we had a 65-year-old man come in to sub a kindergarten class, and he was a ER doc. Now he came in calling himself Mr. Charlie, and he decided to perform ultrasounds on 5- and 6-year-olds on the kindergarten floor. And I was the bad person for reporting it. Go figure.
It's crazy. Of course you were.
Insane. And now in that instance, we thought, oh my gosh, we've been at this was our end of our school year. And we thought this was it. This is going to be what it takes to finally wake people up.
Correct.
And instead, the PR spins that they were putting on it were unbelievable. And our own local sheriff got involved and would not do anything about it. As a matter of fact, they snowed the parents so bad and convinced them that it was a planned procedure.
I saw
and
that.
Because you didn't go to the doctor's office, it wasn't technically a procedure, even though it'd be no different.
Different, correct.
Because you didn't go there. So, they snowed all of these people into that. They wouldn't take any complaints that came from parents of not the ultrasounded kids, but just the parents in the class. Mm-hmm. It was insane. Insane.
That is ultrasound and x-ray?
Yeah.
Basically.
Now, that's another thing. Not if you say that to other people, they're going to redefine that as well, because
of course,
all of those people will say, well, we do it to pregnant women. Well, in natural health, we don't look at it the same way, I can assure you.
But you're also in a doctor's setting. You're also in
and you're doing it for a medical, you have a medical need.
A medical need.
And I can't believe people think that's okay. I mean,
we're rolling up pictures. You saw the pictures, you guys. The pictures make it even worse when you see it.
It's crazy.
And then they got into semantics, because when I originally reported it, because, when 5 or 6 year olds come home and they tell you this, like, I had 3 subs today. One that was sleeping in the guy that slept in the chair and rubbed jelly on people's belly, and my normal other 2 people, like, what? And I had said something in our my original video saying, okay, he was ultrasounding on the desk, and the school was quick to say, no, he wasn't. It was on the floor. Like, that's
that's better.
It matters.
That's better. And of course, you saw, Brooke. You saw the consent form they sent. The informed consent form, right? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't happen. That's even to me the craziest part too.
That part right there. And so it is, to me, just crazy. We're fighting an uphill battle right now.
And so that moment there, that battle, didn't get the rest of the community to say, "Whoa, wait a second, what does it take?" What does it take?
Well, because again, they were selling these people on the fact that this was we knew that this guy was going to do this, and the principal authorized it. No. What? I'm going to tell you, we don't believe that the school knew about this at all. As a matter of fact, I think much worse. But again,
because they denied it initially, didn't they?
Yes, they did. You originally called the school that it happened, and they all said for 2 hours that morning, they were telling callers, don't believe everything you hear. This is a social media hoax.
And then all of a sudden it's like, we approved it.
And then
all of a sudden the spin changed.
It turned into this, me right here, that this community member, it is so sad that we had a doctor come into sub, because a lot of doctors come into sub at kindergarten class, but
of course they do. Yeah.
Neither here nor there, but
I'd question how good of a doctor they are.
I mean, come on, people. So here they are coming in to do this, no parental consent, but what they're saying is that I ruined that amazing learning opportunity by bringing it up in the first place. Now, remember, the school didn't even tell parents for 2 days. So I would not have ever created that video if they would have even sent notices out to the kids in the class or the parents in the class saying, in case your kid came home and said this happened, we don't condone it, our bad. Like, because let's face it.
At least do that, right?
Let's face it. Today, people want authenticity, right? We're so sick of being lied to.
Correct.
And that's the other part that we're getting into. That's just a joke.
It's crazy. I would much rather they'd have done that or said, we really screwed up, parents, and we're very sorry for this. It won't happen again. But that is not what happened. And we don't need to now, but I will read the sheriff's response to you when we record the actual episode and all that, and you're on it, which for those listening, this will be Tuesday's episode. And I'm going to read it. And I was like, is this guy in on it? Like, is he part of the problem?
Well,
I don't live there. I don't want to get you in trouble, but
no, but if you're not part of the solution,
Yeah, you are what? Yeah,
we
part of the
hear
problem
from the naysayers out there. We always hear that they don't see this going on. You know, we talked to some protesters down at the Moms for Liberty Summit that said that, they don't hear any of this stuff that's going on. Well,
it's not happening
today. I did a quick check, and Dale and I just did this before you came on. I did a quick check on all the other networks, MSNBC, CNN, and I typed "Moms for Liberty" stories.
Anything or mom story, like anything.
Hardly anything.
Parental rights. Anything
on MSNBC, nothing came up. So I honestly believe people aren't seeing it. They're not seeing it. So one of the things I want to ask you is we've heard a lot about surveys and on the SEL. Okay, so have you seen any of these really cool surveys that, you know, like they say, they paint a beautiful picture, but then you read the survey, that's not what it is.
Well, okay. I will tell you, so not only am I just involved here in our Heartland schools, but Pinckney in our county, they've decided that they wanted a new gymnasium. So what they did to get this new gymnasium was they've agreed to fully implement SEL within 5 years. So,
oh my gosh.
Okay, that had us all up in arms. So we had parents that were going in and, you know, they won't let you see this curriculum because it's copyrighted. And if you wanted to pay for it, you could pay. They were trying to charge us like $2,500 to get some of this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
But and then it wouldn't be all of it. So let's keep that in mind. So, but one of the lessons that we found was what they're doing is they are trying to actually mess with children's brains so much worse than we thought. So they'll conduct these exercises in class, and they're going to say, hey, class, everybody, today we want you to jump forward. But when we tell you to jump forward, what we really want you to do is step backwards. Right? Now, let's get into the surveys. When you're surveying it, everybody's going, this is so wonderful. Oh my gosh. And it's this whole thing of, we're going to give up our individual rights so we can just be a good neighbor and a good classmate.
Inclusive.
And that's where we're at here. So, and then again, all of the surveys are a big joke because, you know, look at who's writing them. Like, I mean, we're sitting here surveying. We had one in our school and I said, well, shouldn't we be surveying the students and not parents? Because we're not even allowed in the buildings and, you know, in general.
Yeah, exactly. It's
such a joke. So yeah, the surveys,
insane. Now, another thing I want to get into is, and you briefly touched on it earlier, was the free lunches or the lunch. So what is that leading into? Sounds great, right? Free lunch. Who doesn't, right?
So let's back up and remember that during COVID and these past 2 years, the government was so kind that they gave everybody free lunches. Everyone.
Yeah.
Well, now we know why they did that. It suddenly makes sense. So what they want to do now is, hey, if you want to get that funding for, you know, your free lunches, well, then you have to allow boys to use whatever boy bathroom they want, locker room, and play on whatever sports team. So when I found out this was happening, I went to our school. You know, everybody's on summer break right now, but we still have meetings. So we're going. And I said, listen, what can we do to prevent this? What can we do in our community to fundraise, right? Let's work with local farmers. Let's do all these things. There's so many awesome things that we could do as a community to probably serve amazing lunches compared to the crap that we serve now. And then we don't have to have these strings attached. And, you know, let's do this. Again, like everything, never talked, right? I can't hear you. So we just had an email that went out and he finally said, well, you know, do you know we receive a lot of funding? Well, yeah, a lot of government and federal funding. Okay, well, the problem is we know what this funding's all about and what strings are attached to it, right? And I don't want boys in my daughter's locker room, right?
Of course not.
I don't want them versing my daughter in sports because boys are built to be stronger and faster. And yet everybody sits here and says, my husband was saying to me, I actually don't think that's happening. I said, what? No, it's for sure happening. You know, and when I showed him, he said, well, why wouldn't every dad be up at that school? Exactly. And that is the thing. We have to continue to do our part to, you know, to educate our community, you know, to create as many TikTok accounts as it's going to take to get people the message that they need to receive so they come out and they show up. Because once they take this money, there's nothing that we can do.
Nothing. That's
we
it.
Know that,
once they take it.
And it's not our school. It's every school out there that's going to take these funds.
Exactly. Not just your school. That's what's amazing to me. Is that,
it's the term that we hear now that because we can't use the term. So what Dale and I do is it's what you do at PetSmart when you take your dog.
Mm-hmm. You're not used to that magic
so
word
that's
anymore.
What's going on. That's what they're doing. Is your community, through your help, obviously, and then your team that you have, are you guys trying to get, I don't know when your school board's elections are, but are you trying to get people to run so you can maybe get some better voices on the school board?
So we have an entire team formed. We are calling it the Clean Slate because that's exactly what we want to do. I wanted to call it Clean Up in Aisle 46, but, probably not appropriate. So
that is good.
So here we are. We are pushing our people forward. We have Michelle Blondeel running. We have Greg Keller, Glenn Gugaleski, and Bob Merwin. And these are all people that have been in the trenches with us, that have been – see, we have other people running, that – aren't even claiming a side, right? They, want to just try to be neutral or whatever, but they don't have a voice. They're still going to vote with our superintendent and do his bidding, So truly our team plans on doing just that. We're going to come in, we're going to clean house, and we're going to, number one, first item on the docket is getting rid of our superintendent and taking back our school.
Yeah, exactly. That's
because he works for the school board, or at least that's what he's supposed to do.
Yes.
Honestly, though, everywhere you look, the superintendent runs that school board. I mean, it is scary.
It's every community across this nation. It's
crazy.
Really scary.
It's a dictatorship like I've never seen.
Exactly.
And, and all of the let's confuse you. This isn't happening. Let's look at this shiny object here. This is so wonderful. So, and what I get a lot when you were talking about the hate, I do want to bring this up because some of the haters say, well, if Heartland is so bad, then why would Brooke send her kids there? And it's the message I say all the time. It isn't just my school. It's everyone out there. It's your schools. You need to take back your community. This is happening. Maybe not a doctor ultrasounding the kindergartners on the floor, but, all of this other stuff is happening. And so, and my kids in our area, so we live on a lake where our kids, we just are across the street from where that cutoff line is. So all of our neighbors go to Heartland. Otherwise, we'd be slated to go 20 minutes away from us. And then I'm going to have friends all over there. Our family's all in Heartland. It just makes more sense. But again, like I said.
Yeah. And I love that question because it's not, you live in that community. Jim has mentioned it before. You pay taxes in that community for those schools.
Well, not for Heartland.
But for that school
But you pay taxes for school.
You pay taxes for schools, and you should have that ability to have a voice, and you shouldn't have to pick up and move your kids somewhere. You shouldn't have to. That's the problem.
And where would you take them? Where do you take them? Because every school accepts government money, and so that's the conundrum. And so what we really need to start doing is you're looking for leaders that are going to truly be transparent and not just say the word transparency. That's what we're all about here. Anybody that says that, I'm sorry, it's the same people that say the word science, right?
Exactly.
I don't believe it.
Agreed. I say or trust me, or any of those.
It's they're as transparent as oil is what.
Ding, ding.
Exactly. Well, Brooke,
yes.
This is crazy. This is crazy. And your story, you're great, by the way. And so thank you again for coming on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime anything happens, if you want to talk about it, reach out. We'd love to have you back on.
Because odds are I'm not going to see you on TikTok long. So we're going to have to.
You're going to have to follow the backup channel right now, Brooke Chapel 2.0. But yes, we're going to be doing that. And if you ever want us to, one of the things that we are teaching parents how to do is just that. We're teaching parents, just like Moms for Liberty and how, we're affiliated with that. We are teaching parents how to take back their schools. This is important stuff.
Is there a way people can get a hold of you, like if they want to help with this?
Absolutely.
I would like you to.
What do we do? Should we have should I give you a link? Should we do that? Should we give them my email? What do you want? What's
whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want. Give us the email right away, here, and then I'll make sure I post it and all
It's
that.
just brookechapel@me.com.
Okay.
Jeff,
Got it.
If you have a link, just anything you want us to put people in touch
send
with
it,
or anything
send it to
like
us,
that.
and we'll put the link up, and we'll make sure it's on.
And obviously, you'll get copied on this. You'll be dropped. It's Tuesday, I believe, right, Dale?
Yeah,
it'll be on the one that we drop Tuesday. So if you want to post it to where your friends and neighbors and all that can see it, so they can kind of get an idea that maybe they don't know. I can't imagine they don't know this is going on, but maybe there's a few people out there that don't.
You know what? Maybe. I will just say in closing, I love the people that want to believe that they say, well, this isn't happening because I know so-and-so and she teaches there, right? That's
of course.
That's my favorite one. I've never seen so-and-so at a board meeting, right? And by the way, we have over 100 and something FOIAs. We know what is going on. You don't know what's going on unless you are involved.
That's right. That's right.
Get involved.
Yep. You didn't know 3 years ago.
No.
Right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Until you know, and once you know, you cannot deny it. So
no, it's getting glasses. Now that you see everything that's going on, it's a whole new world.
It is. It is. Brooke, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
A pleasure.
We love your energy. Thank you for continuing the fight.
Yeah, the energy, you can feel it. And that's awesome because you can feel it. And that's
if you don't want to join Brooke in this cause, then you're probably brain dead.
I want to move to Michigan. I want
to move to Florida. I'm just scared that it might turn Democratic.
It might. No. It won't. No. It won't. At least not for a couple more years. At least not a couple more years.
We hope not. At least
our man Ron's going to win.
I know.
I know, but I'm gonna hate to lose him as president eventually.
All right, governor.
I'm willing to sacrifice it for the country.
Thanks.
That's for sure. So you're welcome. It's the least I could do, Brooke.
Unlike when Arkansas lost Bill Clinton, he became our president. But anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, we don't want to go into there. Brooke, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to having you on again anytime.
Yep. Yes. Take care.
Yes. All right. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, folks, again, I thank Brooke for coming on the show. We look forward to having her back. Amazing energy, amazing person, good person, truly cares. I mean, the most important part is she's a mother who cares deeply for her children and knows what's best for her children, as most mothers do, and parents in general. I don't want to leave fathers out of it. She's got a great support staff there and her husband and everything else, and she's amazing. But she did mention something about there, and I said I would read it on air, was the response from the sheriff, Jim, of the county, when looking into this. And they had their Freedom of Information Act papers out there, and they did the right thing. They wanted to know all about this Mr. Charlie, about this so-called, top-notch physician who so happened to want to, substitute a kindergarten class all of a sudden and lay children on the floor and do a medical procedure. Pull up their shirts and do a medical. Seems legit, right? Well, here. So this was from, please see the attached documents that will fulfill your FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request. In addition, when I met with you and others that had expressed concern, I told ya all, YA.
Yeah, I like that.
That's how professional it is. That I would look into the matter further to attempt to figure out if this was a nefarious act or something more innocent. Here are my findings to the questions that were posed. Number one, the doctor in question is a bona fide physician holding a current license. He did ask for permission from the school and was granted it prior to using any equipment. That's important because the school, as you heard, denied approving this for 2 straight days. But all of a sudden, everything's on the up and up. Number two, he did submit to a background check and was cleared to substitute teach. All the schools in the county use a vendor to conduct their backgrounds on substitute teachers. The name of that vendor is EduStaff, EduStaff. You can find them on www.edustaff.org. If anybody wants to look that up, go right ahead. I haven't yet. Number three, the district did in fact ban him from subbing in the elementary level. However, he relayed that he will not be substitute teaching again based on this experience. So they banned him after approving and background checking him. And him doing this procedure. They banned him from the elementary level, so he can sneak right up to preview middle school kids if he so chooses. But he's decided not to. This experience has been just too traumatic on him. Not the kids whose shirts he's lifted and laid on the floor of the classroom and rubbed jelly and did a medical procedure on. Not them, but this guy. It was just too tough for him. I feel bad. Number 4, there was another regular substitute in the classroom all day. This sub mentioned to the doctor that he should probably stop using his equipment, and he did. Yeah. Last I know, you have to wheel in an ultrasound machine, right? Or carry it. I don't know. Maybe it's a portable one. Maybe they have those now. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But you have to set it up, plug it in, lift a shirt, start with the jelly. Now, this happened to multiple children. Multiple children.
How high were the shirts pulled up?
Doesn't even. Yeah, I mean, you're right.
No, it does matter.
It does matter. It does matter. It all matters. And number 5, the school acknowledges there was no consent from any of the parents, and also recognizes that this should not have happened without such consent.
Yes.
Well, how nice thing. How nice of them. Based on the attached documents and my follow-up, I am convinced there is nothing criminal here. We can all agree things could have and should have been handled differently. And of course, hindsight is always 20/20. I am confident the district will ensure nothing like this happens going forward. Based on the totality of the circumstances, I consider this matter closed. In God we trust, Sheriff Mike Murphy. That is the response from the sheriff. Guys, I got to disagree with the sheriff on this. I mean, listen, I'm thinking the sheriff is, maybe a little liberal in himself, but I think there's something criminally incorrect with this. I don't know how you feel, Jim, about it, but these are 5-year-olds, 4 and 5-year-olds.
A medical piece of equipment into a school,
correct,
to conduct on children, where you're pulling up their shirts, laying them on the floor.
Now, how many
without
of those
parent consent?
What if those children had? What if one of those child? God, why can't I speak? What if one of the children had a pacemaker in, or had some other thing with internally where an ultrasound could have created more damage? Because it can happen. Oh, yeah. All right, it can happen. There's a reason why ultrasounds are done in a sterile environment, in a medical practice or hospital. There's a reason that's done that way with a medical professional. Now, yeah, is he a doctor? Who would ever think that that's a good idea? I'm just going to bring in ultrasound machines and do it. Maybe next time it's anal exams. Seriously, I'm not making that. I'm not even making that up. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're doing, pap smears on middle school students now, without their parents' consent. I mean, what the hell is next?
I agree with you.
To me, it's criminally, you know? Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, you and I have talked about this before. This wokeism is opening up an entire new pathway for pedophiles to get into our children. Mm-hmm. And it's happening, folks. It is happening. And I know of course, if you're the CNN and the MSNBC viewers, you're never going to see it. It's happening. It's happening, and it's disgusting, and this has got to stop. And in upcoming interviews, one of our friends posted a reading that was qualified for young adults, 12 to 18. Did you?
I saw it. Well, she'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to wait because, guys, this is disturbing in every step of the way. 12.
13. 14, 15, 16, 17. 18 is a different story for me. 12.
In a school setting, 18
Correct.
Should not.
Still should not. I get that. In a school setting, it should never. You're right. You're absolutely right. But anyways, Brooke, thank you again for coming on. Jim and I were honored to speak with you. We look forward to future follow-ups because there will be. There will be future follow-ups. And folks, I want you to keep in mind too that if you hear of stories like that out there, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Literally reach out to you. We want to keep presenting those stories. I know there's a lot of focus on the economy and everything that's going on with buffoon Biden. We all see it. We all know it. Again, you won't see those stories on CNN or MSNBC either. But, this is the future. This is the future.
She's another example of someone that we talked to. It's pretty intelligent, up on what's going on.
Correct.
Not radical at all.
Yep.
Not hate-filled.
Nope.
None at all.
None at all.
Well-informed mother who cares about the education of not just her children, but everyone's children.
Yep. We have not, that's a good point, Jim. That's a good point, because she said it multiple times too. It's when she saw it was happening, it's like with the masks, it started with the mask, and the school knew way more than a team of her doctors knew, and that should just tell you the whole story right there, people. But and she said, well, this is happening to every kid, she's fighting for every kid in that town and across the nation, like they all are, and again, so support Moms for Liberty, folks. For one, go to momsforliberty.org. You can donate, or you can buy merch, hats, shirts, cups, mouse pads, you name it. But they need that support. They need that kind of funding to keep this fight going. If you care as much as Jim and I do, and you should, I don't know why you wouldn't. I just don't know why you wouldn't. I know a lot of people are like, I don't have kids in school, whatever. God, it's got nothing to do with that. There's still a future of our country, right? I mean, if you care deeply about that and the indoctrination and the brainwashing of them, that's when you got to kind of say to yourself, it's what the left does. It's what they want to do.
Obama,
Jim,
they did the same thing.
They did.
Don't pay it. We're going to have this out here so you don't see what we're doing over here. That's what they do. And
it's the exact same administration, except maybe worse. Maybe worse now. Maybe absolutely worse.
I'm guessing it's worse.
It has, and it's getting worse.
He wasn't able to do. He's doing it now.
He's doing now. Again, why the midterms are so important, and your local elections are so important.
And if we only take back 4 seats, we don't take over control.
We do not. So you got to vote, people. You got to go out there and vote. Jim, anything else to add to this show? I know we ran a little long, guys, but we apologize. But it's just what it is. Jim, kind of a brief update. We have another guest on Thursday's show. Who will that be? It's a good author friend of ours, and Jim has been doing a lot of the legwork on this. So who is that person, Jim?
Adam Coleman. He's an author of the book Black Victim to Black Victor. Yep. And I encourage you guys to listen to it, buy the book and read it. I think it is very interesting reading. And it's from a perspective of an individual that came from not great means, not a great family dynamic, but came out of it awesome individual.
Because you can in this country.
And I'm going to talk to him. And I'm going to talk to him about the one thing, because I just thought it was amazing. When he became a father, he said his child will never know what it's like not to have a dad.
Yep.
I thought that's because when we get into it and talk to him about it, you'll know what we mean by that story. And not just a dad, because we have a lot of those, right? They're dads, they're there, but are they there? They're not really, they're not there for you. They're not there for your children. They're not helping your son become a man. They're not. And that's all. That's all races, guys. That's not just
that's not just
anything like that. But correct. He's a great guy. Guy. And I can't wait to talk to him. I think it's going to be very interesting.
I do too. I can't wait either. So we look forward to that. Folks, thank you again for listening. Thank you for listening to Jimmy's rant today. It was phenomenal. I loved it. And thank you again, Brooke, for coming on. We do appreciate it. We look forward to having her on, as well as many others that are coming up. Again, our friend Paige. We got a lot of people coming up, folks, that we want to talk to, because they all have continued stories. It's still happening. And schools are about to open again. So it's very important to get this information out there. Folks, reach out to us if you want. You'll find out at the end of our show here how to do that. You hear something, you want to give feedback, you want to tell us how great Jim's doing, let us know. Or
we want to hear less from Jim, whatever.
No. Nobody wants to hear less from Jim. Give us the feedback. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support. Remember to share, like, follow, do all the stuff that really keeps people informed out there. We pride ourselves, I think, Jim, in trying to get the truth out there. I know we talk sometimes a lot about stories that you can find out there, but I think we like to give our perspective on it. And damn it, I think our perspective is spot on, Jim.
I think so too.
So I think so too. I mean, a little biased maybe, but maybe not. Anyways, folks, thank you again. We appreciate it. We appreciate the support, and we'll see you all on Thursday. See you, Jimmy. Bye.
You've been listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for Two Guys, One Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.